Hey, how's it going? So, here's the plan. We're starting the whole outdoor garden thing. See, we're not sure if we're actually going to be able to stay here for the whole summer. So we kind of have two options, right? We've got either don't put in a garden. Well, actually, we have three options. Don't put in a garden. Just grow everything in pots, so if we have to leave, we can take it with us. But then how do you have a full-size garden in pots, right? Right now, if you guys have looked online trying to buy plastic pots, a 5-gallon plastic pot is like $6. That's ridiculous. So we're gonna do a combination of pots and in garden. So there is a garden here on site. It's 40 feet by about 8 feet wide. So what I've done already is I've peeled back all the chicken fencing around it. You can see where the pre-existing garden was. And the thought is we're going to lengthen it by X amount of feet and possibly widen it, as well as we're going to take it back to the cedar rail posts right here. So I'm going to give you guys a walk around, going to show you what I'm thinking, and yeah, this is the first you guys have pretty much seen outside the property besides what's over at the chicken coop. So here we go. Welcome to the homestead. So apple tree, apple tree, apple tree, apple tree, right? And then we've got, so here's the pre-existing garden. From right there, there's one of those in-ground composters. So everywhere where you see soil tore up is last year's garden. So that's 40 feet by about 8 feet wide. And we're thinking of taking it and running it also right here and right down this hollow spot between the cedar rail posts down to the composter, and then maybe 10, 15, 20 feet past that composter. And we're probably going to take it out maybe 5 feet out from here. The ground is flat, but if you can see, if the camera lens picks it up, see how it starts to kind of creep up on the left hand side? Right, so we don't want that at the edge of the garden, because then it's going to flood the side of the garden. I need at least a couple of feet of level ground before we hit the edge of the garden. So that's the plan. The garden used to have beds running this way, but there was no walkway along the front, so you kind of had to apparently hop from bed to bed, and that's really not going to work this year because the beds are going to be so full of stuff. So what we may do is just incorporate, we're going to incorporate pathways into here, maybe talk to an arborist and see if we can get some, a load of wood chips brought down. So here's where we stand. Right now, I'm going to get my work gloves on. We're going to start pulling up last year's corn stalks. Then I'm going to get the weed whacker out and I'm going to start taking down all of this long grass, cleaning up this edge, because this edge, that fence was there for 5 years. So this edge right here, it's kind of hilled up, but the fence was all tied into here. So the ground is it's all mounded up. So we're going to clean all that up. And then we're going to take the soft rake to it. We're going to rake off all the long grass. Then we are going to see if I can get a tiger torch and burn it. If I can't burn it with a tiger torch, we're going to tarp it. Either way, it's going to get tarped. And I've got about 1,500 pounds of compost here. So we're going to, once we tarp that off for a little bit, we're going to rototill the whole section, start adding compost and building rows, or build rows, add compost, and see if we can get wood chips in. So that's where we're at. You guys, I know you've been waiting to see what kind of gardens we're going with this year. So that's this section of garden we're going to work on. We're also going to do potato towers in welded wire fencing. We're going to do potato towers in boxes. That's what this thing is here. This is I haven't used this, but some guy was selling them to a local artist, and this is a potato box. And apparently you load it all up, you do your potatoes and you hill them and yada yada. Then you open this. There's the bottom, right? And you're supposed to be able to pull your potatoes out of the bottom of this thing. So I don't know. We may use this box. I mean, it's nicely built. Don't get me wrong. So who knows what we're going to do with that, but that's definitely going to be used for something. We've started a compost pile, but with moving the garden, we're probably definitely moving that compost pile. And then my back is getting better. You guys know I kind of wrecked my back there a week ago. So all these apple trees are gnarly. They're gnarly. Look at that thing, like, yuck. So I'm gonna get my climbing gear on, because I spent a few years as an arborist. I'm gonna throw my belt on and my rope, and we're gonna go up into these trees, and we're gonna thin these apple trees out. All these really scraggly trees here, these apples. So we're gonna thin them all out, we're gonna clean them up, cut a bunch of dead crap out of them, and hopefully get a half decent harvest out of them this year, because if I can get all of these apple trees producing again, because apparently they don't produce very well, which no surprise, they probably haven't had someone clean them up in 50 odd years. If I can get them producing again, we are going to have apples coming out the wazoo, so we can make our own apple cider, our own apple cider vinegar, our own homemade applesauce, you name it. So guys, thanks for coming around, and yeah, I'll keep you guys hooked up as the project continues. All right, have a great day. See ya.